If you're a biblical man, you should be a businessman, because so many biblical men were businessmen. And I want to speak about that today. And by the end of today's video, I'm going to show you the easiest thing that you can do to make money in the next 24 to 48 hours in a business based on skills that you already have. I was thinking about this the other day. Biblical men were businessmen. And let me just define what I mean by business so we're all on the same page. When I think about a business, when I use the word business, I'm talking about providing a product or service which solves a problem for a group of people. And the way I like to do that specifically is digitally, because that means I have reach to people all over the world. So for example, you can create a product, you can create an offer, you can say, you know what, I'm going to solve this problem that you have today, and it will cost you X amount of money. And because we have so much access to so many people today, you can do that instantly and have people turn around within minutes, within hours, and say, yes, I want to pay you for that money, right? I created a product recently called Cashflow for Christians, where I walk Christians through how to create a digital product and sell it within the next 7 days or less. When I first sold this, I had my first buyer within a few hours. The reason I could do that is because I specifically know whose problem I'm trying to solve, and I know how to speak and where they are in order for me to communicate this offer to them. But before we even get to anything like that, one of the things which I know holds so many people back, especially Christians, when it comes to being businessmen, is thinking about business from a biblical perspective. I get messages like this all the time, and it's so funny. I mentioned this in a previous video, but a recent comment I got recently in one of my pieces of content was, don't bring religion into this, brother. Like, do you have passages? Do you have scripture to back up what you're talking about? And my response is always the same, right? My response is always, this is the problem. So many people don't realize that the best chance they have at business is basing their business based on the Bible. Don't run your business based on the world, base your business based on the word. It just makes so much sense on so many different levels. I'll talk about this more as time goes on in the future, so definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel. But the point is, before you even get to should I start a business, you're thinking about it, but you're hung up with, is this a biblical thing? Am I going to get caught up in the love of money, etc., and all those different kind of things? And those are real problems. And I'm never going to tell you to love money. I'm always going to tell you to love something which is more significant than money, something in fact which is a magnet for money and wealth and all this other stuff, and that's wisdom. But more on that on another day. I've got multiple videos talking about that as well. One video which comes to mind now is the key to making unlimited amounts of money. I'll leave it linked in the description box below. Such a powerful video with a powerful visual illustration to help you understand this as well. And it's biblical, a biblical concept I show you. Anyway, let me not get sidetracked. I was thinking about this the other day. Biblical men were businessmen, and I was thinking about who in the New Testament, what are some New Testament examples of biblical men who were businessmen? Because this will always help us as Christians understand that this is something that we should be doing more of. It's not a bad thing to own your own business. It's actually a good thing. So one of the people I thought about, or a set of brothers I thought about, were Peter and Andrew. Now, Peter is such a powerful example because in the New Testament writings, when you look at it, like, he's clearly like the leader of the disciples. He's the key man in regards to the church in the first century. And when you think about it from that perspective, one of the first things we find out in the Gospels about Peter and his brother Andrew is that they were fishermen, right? They were what we'd call modern day entrepreneurs, right? And like many people in that day, they had a skill, and that skill was what provided for them income. The key thing about those two is they had options. What do I mean by that? Well, they could decide, you know what, I'm going to go fishing today, or I'm not going to go fishing today. I'm going to go fishing in the night time. I'm going to go fishing at this time, etc. We see that throughout the Gospels. And I'm trying to help you realize it's like, that's what's different. The option to work at the time that you desire is a key difference between someone who works a 9 to 5 and has to clock in and clock out at set times. I'm not talking about holiday days or sick leave or anything along those lines. Typically, someone who is an employee has to clock in at a set time, clock out at a set time. And it's like that all year round for years and years and years. And for many people, I believe they're trapped in the system, because many people shouldn't be going down that route. Many people should be doing like Peter and Andrew did. They had their own skill, their own craft, which we would just call today a business. We'd say they were in the fishing business today. And they would go and fish. I'm sure they would sell some of the fish, and some of the fish they would live off, etc. And in the same way, it's just like a business. You today can start a business based on skills that you have, based on expertise that you have, and you can go out into the marketplace. You can do this actually really quickly today, in fact, and you can sell that product or service and deliver on the promises that you are making. So when I talk about my product, for example, Cashflow for Christians, it's a product which shows Christians how to do what I'm talking about and do it in 7 days or less. In fact, you can do it quicker, but I just give an additional couple of days for leeway. But the fact of the matter is, my expectation is for people to buy the product and to get the result within hours, right? Because I want people to take the action. I got a comment recently which was so interesting. It was someone who was basically saying, look, you know what? I was thinking that this is not really going to be all that good. And then I bought it and I realized, you know what, there was just so much value here. And that's what I want to happen over and over again. You deliver a product, you deliver a service, you deliver some content like a video like this, and you want to make it so good that people consume it and they're just like, wow, I didn't expect this. So you've got Peter and Andrew. The next set of people I want to talk about are another set of brothers, and it's actually their partners, right? John and James. Now, the reason why this is so significant, I was just thinking about this a moment ago. In Jesus's 12 disciples, most of the disciples that we hear about were businessmen or were wealthy. But the point I want you to realize specifically is you have the 12 disciples, and then clearly Jesus has his, we could call it like the inner circle or the inner few, which was Peter, James, and John. Now, is it a surprise that these three inner people were all fishermen? They had their fishing business. And I'm trying to get you to realize that the inner circle, the people that were closest to Jesus, had this sort of philosophy, had this sort of framework. Why? Because when you have this, I mentioned this again, you have options. You have the option. It's easier to say, you know what, Lord, I'm going to follow you with everything that I have, when you have the option to go and fish when you desire to, and not necessarily being in a situation where it's like, okay, cool, I want to come, but I can't come because I need to clock in, I need to clock out, etc. Now, look, I'm not saying that that is totally wrong to do that. I'm not saying that. What I said earlier, and I'll say it again, certain people should not be going down that pathway. They should be going down this pathway, which is business and entrepreneurship. And that's who these videos are for. So 4 of the 12 disciples we know of clearly had this business. They were running this business and it gave them options. That's what a online business gives you. It gives you the option to work from anywhere. It gives you the option to make money any time of the day, any time of the night. And it gives you options to be there for your family. And most importantly, it gives you the option to fully be the person that God desires you to be, and to walk in your calling in the fullest way, in the full version of yourself. Now, after we look at Peter, Andrew, James, and John, I want to speak about what some people view as the most significant man in the New Testament, and that's Paul the Apostle. And many people don't know and realize that Paul was a tent maker. So just like Peter and Andrew, James and John, their business was fish. The powerful thing about what Paul did was his business was tent making. So he went around wherever he was going and he would sell tents. I assume he would make the tents and then sell the tents. But this is what's so significant about this. Again, what did it provide him with? It provided Paul with an option. This is the power of a business. It provides you with an option for you to make a decision to say, well, I'm going to work here today. I'm going to work there today. You know what was so powerful about Peter, Andrew, James, and John? The place in which they lived, there was a lot of water for them to fish. That means they could go in different places around Israel. They could go to different places in the world and they could fish. You know what was great about Paul's business, tent making? Everywhere he went, when he went to Spain, when he went to Italy, when he went to Greece, when he went to Turkey, wherever he went, people needed tents. Now, this is what I need you to realize. It's important for you to, when you think about business, go into something, do something which a lot of people need. People need somewhere to stay. People need somewhere to live when they're moving around, i.e. a tent. People need something to eat. So people were going to be eating fish. They were Mediterranean, so many of the fish was a big part of that diet. Another thing I need you to realize is, who do you think Peter and Andrew, James and John were typically selling their fish to? Who do you think typically Paul was selling his tents to? Now, I'm not going out of my way to say, you know, do business just for Christians. That's not my point. But it makes more sense that that's who likely their clientele were. And the reason I'm saying that is because I get pushback sometimes because I'm helping Christians start a business. And in my mind, I'm like, well, first and foremost, one of the reasons why I don't care about that is because I'm going to do and serve the people I believe God wants me to serve. Number one. But number two, if you have any objection in your mind of, you know, well, that may be who you're called to serve, just go ahead, just do it. Don't be afraid. God will provide for you because you'll be doing the thing He's calling you and created you to do. But then at the flip side, I'm pretty certain that those disciples who were fishing would sell fish to whoever wanted to buy it. And I'm sure Paul would probably sell tents to whoever wanted to buy it as well. The point I'm trying to get you to realize is, do the business, do it in the way in which God desires you to do it. For some people, their business is for everybody. For some people, their business is for a select few amount of people. Either way, business is the vehicle that you should be using. If you want more leverage, if you want more time, if you want more money, if you want more freedom, if you want to be there more for your family, and if you want your faith to increase because you are able to serve the people that God desires you to serve in the greatest way, to the highest level. So if you are a biblical man, truly, one of the things which will help you is becoming a businessman, truly. And if you would like to know what you can sell personally, I definitely recommend you watch my video next here, where I talk about what you should do if you're thinking about starting a business for additional income and more freedom. Go win, and God bless winner.